Could you eat a meal this big for a year and lose weight? I am Amanda Rose, half my size, down 140 pounds from 280, and I have here today the inventor of this, the ridiculously big salad, back when it was being invented in the fall of 2017. This ridiculously big salad framework has driven so many of the success cases you're seeing at the Eat Like a Bear website. Many of those century cases, people who were down over 100 pounds, and we hit 100 of them very recently. The ridiculously big salad is actually a pretty specific framework, and in a surprising little gem from the video archive, our expert here today is myself in September of 2017. Listen to what I say about the ridiculously big salad before it even had a name. I'm eating every day in a 1 hour window. So it is one meal in 1 hour every day. That's it. My meal has typically been a salad with a seafood topping, like a canned salmon, a sardine, and the salad itself has been typically romaine with dressed with an olive oil vinaigrette. And so it's just loaded with nutrition, but it also has quite a few calories really for a salad. It's probably in the 800 to 1,000 calorie range. I want to say something about this footage. This is very interesting to me. This is extremely early, ridiculously big salad. And I tell people that I went through a process of iteration, I say, where I tried things, kind of tested, kind of tried them on for size, and continued to kind of work in the direction of what has ended up being this. And one of the interesting things to me is that I was really stuck on that 800 to 1,000 calories. You hear that in what I say here. I was eating 800 to 1,000 calories. And a reason I was kind of in that ballpark is the bariatric model is 800 calories, and I was preparing to have bariatric surgery. But if you know the details of the framework, you know that I actually landed at a little bit of a higher calorie mark. But this is where I started. And this salad here today is probably more in the 1,200 calorie range. And I know I say I don't count macros, and yet you hear me in that early video saying I was eating 800 to 1,000 calories. And is that because I was in the kitchen meticulously measuring them? Absolutely not. So I encourage people to learn the framework and kind of be free from the counting, because the framework will guide you in the right direction without counting. But to say that I sort of never counted or never paid attention really is not the case at all. And you hear that here because I am mindful that my salads at that point were in the 800 to 1,000 calorie range. So how did I know that and also not count? You guys, I know a lot about food. And so my PhD is in political science. I actually wrote a book on depression and food nutrients some time back. I have done a lot of data analytic work using food nutrients. And so I have an above average knowledge of food nutrients and can kind of shoot from the hip on a lot of the calorie things. I'm sure that some meals I did count, or I certainly looked certain things up that I might not have known about. But for the most part, I was eyeballing it and getting real close in that range. And so I don't count macros on one hand, but guys, I have a PhD minor in statistics on the other hand, and so to say I never count anything or don't pay attention to data is really not the whole story. This is why one of the main things I recommend people do is they're stalling or they're having issues with implementation is maybe to actually count. Here's another interesting nugget. I'm going to be branching out into other meals. I'm going to be branching out to some other foods, but keeping it in that low carb range. I think it's important here to point out that I was never a salad eater. And so me then wanting to branch out into other meals was me recognizing that this worked, but now let's take that knowledge and move forward. Let's iterate some more. That's what I was doing. I was testing different things. And what's interesting, two things. One is that the other meals I ended up eating ended up following a very, very similar framework to this, and it's what we now call the cooked RBS. In fact, I've been working on that book this very week, but it is the same framework as the salad. It's just that the base is not raw greens, it's some sort of cooked vegetable. The framework is the same. And so while I was branching out, I then found a way to keep the framework that was working so well. I can remember playing with meals that didn't fit this framework, and I also did that in maintenance, but I definitely did it in that period, and yet I landed on this meal and the cooked RBS meal as like drivers of my own success, and they've since have so much social proof in the community. There's certainly something maybe distinct and special about this. But here's the thing, I there was looking for some non-salad solutions because I was not a salad eater. But guess what I am today? I'm a salad eater because this has driven so much of my own personal success. It's a meal that's satisfying to me, that over time I have come to associate this with being just satisfied in my eating and being happy in my life. I'm a salad eater now, and it took all those weeks of implementation, of seeing that success, of trying some other things, of iterating around and trying different frameworks, and seeing that there was something special about this. And so I always encourage people to take this and adapt it. Adapt it to your own circumstances. Be your own inventor. Iterate yourself. But I would encourage you to start here. Like, this is your starting place. And the reason is, I mean, we just have so much social proof. This is a good place to start. It's certainly a good place to start your learning. And so some people, like, for instance, if you've had bariatric surgery, you're probably not going to start here. But you can start with learning why this is working and then adapt it to fit your smaller stomach. And the thing is that smaller stomach is a tool too. And so you want to be strategic about how you're behaving and using that tool that, most of us don't have. So we're going to strategize a little bit differently from you. So you're navigating a different structural environment, essentially. And so your choices will probably be different. And that's okay. And you can still learn why this is working and then adapt it to meet your needs. I love people adapting this. My concern is with people who maybe haven't taken the time to learn the framework itself and are taking a lot of it for granted. And so I encourage you, either with the RBS book or the cooked RBS book, which is about to come out, that you learn the framework from one of those and make that your starting place. And try not to take for granted that it's just a salad. Well, it is just a salad in a sense, and one that I crafted by iterating some months through to come to this point. And so there's a reason that I put various things in the salad and reason I don't put certain things in the salad. So I would encourage you to learn that and then run with it. And yeah, this is so outrageous. It's funny that I apparently thought I could live on 800 calories a day. And, you can live on anything like that. For a while, I suppose, but I've landed, and even for a weight loss salad, landed higher than that 800 calories. Thank goodness, because I'll freely admit, I'd surely love to eat a whole lot of calories every single day. And the reason I'm able to be successful is that I have a meal like this that's calorie minded, that is very full and satisfying. It allows me to draw the line and walk away from my eating, a key part of the philosophy of the ridiculously big salad, which I have made even more explicit in the cooked RBS book. So there you have it. You can check out some of the progression of the RBS videos here on the Eat Like a Bear channel. I'm going to direct you to one way back in the beginning, the first one that I ever did before the RBS, the Ridiculously Big Salad, even had a name. So we've come a long way.